Friends of Discovery Parks have been advocating tirelessly for the past 50 years, stewarding this place and maintaining that deep commitment to the belief that there is no more valuable use of the park than as open space. And what a gift it is. Think about it. Here in the city, nearly 600 acres of continuous green space where nature is the point. Nature is the whole point. It's why we come here. It's what the original peoples of this place understood so long before us. How nature feeds us, nurtures us, and restores us. We honor those people, and we look to their wisdom in deciding how to care for this place. More recently, we remember those early European settlers who were driven to make the land productive through forestry and agriculture. Then a federal army post to safeguard the Puget Sound and keep the peace in a restive Seattle. We remember, too, that with the federal presence came more people, including the Army's 25th Infantry, when 900 African-American soldiers landed here in October of 1909, only to face discrimination and resentment from their white neighbors. The military base on which they served kept growing. In fits and starts, the federal government and its military settled on the land and left their imprint upon it. Successive waves of building and rebuilding as our country fought a series of wars in the Pacific, and shiploads of young troops from all over came to the Pacific Northwest to fight for their country. Not surprisingly, the federal government eventually realized that the base was no longer strategic, and the citizens of Seattle sprang into action. The promise of the 70s environmental movement spoke to them, and their voice was heard. To create a park with a singular purpose, laid down explicitly in the original 1972 master plan, the document we celebrate here today, the text of which has remained unaltered since 1972, those simple and eloquent words that we have heard so many times before. The primary purpose of this park should be to provide an open space of quiet and tranquility, a sanctuary where people can escape the turmoil of the city. As we have slowly and painstakingly dismantled the infrastructures of war, we have built a new place, a place that generations of Seattleites have grown up in, raised children in, and survived a global pandemic in. There will always be those who take this park for granted, but we must never forget how utterly unique this place is. Never forget the long and winding road it took to get here, and never forget the vision of those who came before us. We must remain vigilant and remain true to the principles of the master plan, that this park serve one purpose. But let us also remember what lies ahead, the possibilities of a work not yet complete. Ask yourself, what will Discovery Park look like in 50 years, or even 4,000 years? And what can we do today to make it an even better place for tomorrow's citizens? Here's my wish list for the next half century. Along Officers Row at the highest point of the park with unequaled views to the west, next to that giant golf ball, there remains nearly 2 acres of unused federal land. Although publicly owned, we the citizens are not allowed to use it. It is owned by the FAA, who refuses to even discuss our proposal to reconfigure that fence to both improve security and allow citizens to access the remarkable views. City Council Member Lewis has laid important groundwork in the form of a city resolution that supports the transfer of this property to the city. We should not be discouraged by the FAA's intransigence. We are in it for the long haul, and we thank our elected officials who continue to advocate for a land transfer there. At the old Army Reserve site not far from here, with large areas of pavement, roads, driveways, and abandoned buildings, there is more federally owned land. Originally part of Old Fort Lawton, it is strategically located between Discovery Park and Kiwanis Ravine, a vital corridor for the great blue herons that migrate between the estuary of Salmon Creek and the forests and shorelines of Discovery Park. As planning for that parcel continues, we urge our elected officials to reconnect that migratory pathway between Kiwanis Ravine, Commodore Park, and the greater Discovery Park. Create a green corridor where wildlife can travel safely between these two important habitat areas. And along the same lines, help us reduce traffic and noise by limiting the speed and volume of the private vehicles traveling to the West Point Beach. Improve and add parking at the periphery of the park and provide shuttle buses to and from the beach. At the same time, improve and repair Texas Way to keep this traffic to the periphery. Limit traffic on that short segment of Illinois to pedestrians and bikes only. This happened for a short time during the pandemic, and I've never seen the park as quiet and tranquil. This would cost nothing and benefit the park and its wildlife immensely. To all of our elected officials here today, I would say one thing. Do not forget the blood, sweat, and tears that the citizens of Seattle have given to this park. They have made this ground hallowed ground. Remember their commitment and your responsibility to uphold the master plan. Never forget that the primary purpose of this place is to be a place of nature. There will be many future proposals like there have been in the past. There will be many great ideas that seem to make sense in the moment, but always ask yourself, why is Discovery Park so special? Why has it remained the city's most beloved park? It's because those that came before us remain true to the guiding principle that this park must serve one purpose only. Be unwavering. Be steadfast and true to the course charted so many years ago. I firmly believe that Discovery Park is Seattle's single greatest achievement. Because of a visionary master plan that guides it, because of that plan, we have a world-class green space and forests that act as important carbon sinks that cool our city, that absorb pollution and give us breathing room as we confront our new reality of climate change. We have turned our collective swords into plowshares, our thermonuclear bunkers into forests of alder, western red cedar, Douglas fir, and salal. We have welcomed a profusion of native flora and fauna, critters of all sorts who have gratefully made this place their home, and for that we should be proud. In closing, I'd like to say that if you remember one thing today, remember this: our commitment to keep Discovery Park as, quoting now, an open space of quiet and tranquility for the citizens of this city, a sanctuary where they might escape the turmoil of the city and enjoy the rejuvenation which quiet and solitude and an intimate contact with nature can bring. Those words from the original 1972 master plan are as true today as they have ever been. To the citizens of Seattle, I say never, ever take this place for granted. It is a treasure that we have been given, and it is a treasure that we must pass on. Long live Discovery Park. Thank you very much. Thanks to our speakers.